Our pace of living leaves us little time for leisure. Our program will give you a chance to experience the fascinating world of traveling, extreme adventures, hunting and fishing. Each week we will take you to the most beautiful places of Kazakhstan. The hunting mid-season is over, and we set off for hunting yellow ground squirrels, as the season for hunting these animals is officially open. We travel across the Almaty region to our destination. We plan to go to one of the game reserves, which is situated in 400 kilometers to the east from Almaty, well beforehand, having booked the hunting tour. The season for hunting yellow ground squirrels is open. This is the first hunt for us this year, as we are beginner hunters in smoothbore firearms hunting. So we decided to join a team of experts, and hopefully we'll see how to hunt ground squirrels properly. We want to see how to shoot, skin and cook them. I think it will be interesting. We have to spend 3 days away from home, so we need an adequate amount of food, proper clothing, camping and hunting equipment. Our trailer was soon full of the necessary stuff for comfortable camping in the mountains where, despite the summer, the temperatures may be relatively low and maybe even 0 degrees centigrade. We headed for one of the game reserves towards the Chinese-Kazakhstani border. These are the last signs of the civilization before we enter the steppe. Here we have an opportunity to get more provision before we carry on our journey. In 5 hours of traveling by cars, we reached the destination. We have moved a few hundreds of kilometers from Almaty. If we were somewhere in Europe, we would have gone across Germany and Holland and would have probably reached a shore of the ocean or sea, depending on what they have there. Here we can see the mountains and hills. The colors of the landscape are changing every 3 minutes. Blue, yellow, red. The camera may not be able to show the beauty we see here. Having been driving away from the paved road, we have to stop to make sure we are going in the right direction, checking the route with a map and a navigator, as it's very easy to get lost in this area once you take a wrong turn. We're almost at the border between 2 game reserves. Yes, this is where the other game reserve begins. I wonder when we will cross the border at points 14, 13 and 15, approximately within this distance. This is approximately where we are now. There is a little distance left, but the road is deteriorating more and more. Every meter of the narrow mountain road was difficult for our overloaded off-road vehicles. It is easy to get lost in these vast plains, and only local shepherds who have their herds of sheep can orientate well here. Their horses trampled the paths and roads, so we have to check the route with the shepherds. According to the coordinates, we're approaching this point. We can see it on the map and on the GPS navigator. It looks like they coincide. Eventually we arrive at the place. Hunting can be compared to hiking in the countryside, in that it is better to camp in the places near a river and where you are protected from wind. We spent a lot of time setting up the camp. First we made tents and prepared the place for sleeping, and only then organize the place for the camp kitchen.
Щель довольно узкая, каменная. Узкая.
The cavity is quite narrow, but there is a river nearby, so that's why we have chosen this place. This is the largest place we have found for the tents. We try to be model tourists and want to leave no waste after ourselves. While organizing a temporary shelter, we talk about yellow ground squirrels. In Kazakhstan, there are two kinds of ground squirrels or marmots, bobak marmots and alpine or grey marmots. Today we are trying to hunt the alpine marmot. The alpine marmot has longer fur compared to the bobak marmot. These may be explained by climatic conditions these species live in. It's July now and it's 40 degrees centigrade in the city, but here in Tersky Alatau it is quite chilly. That's why we are wearing jackets. So you can now imagine that these species need thick fur to inhabit this area. In the wild, ground squirrels live in spacious and deep burrows in solitude while trying to make their homes as close to other ground squirrels as possible so that they have neighbors to socialize with. These cute animals are quite sociable when they are not hibernating, and they hibernate for 6 to 8 months a year, enough to miss socializing with other members of their community. So the high sounds they emit may not necessarily mean danger. But whenever yellow ground squirrels are disturbed, they stand in an upright position, signaling to their neighbors around a large territory there may be a hazard. Ground squirrels hibernate in groups through the winter, so the burrow is fully packed with the members of the same ground squirrel family. Mating takes place after hibernating from March to June once a year. In 1 litter of ground squirrels, there may be 4 to 5 cubs. The mother feeds its young with her milk for about 6 weeks. The bobak marmot or steppe marmot inhabits the steppes of the Eurasian continent and has a large body while its limbs are short and strong with strong claws. It has large bones. Its skull is massive but has a flat form. Its neck is short. Yellow ground squirrels are primary carriers of pneumonic and bubonic plague and maintain the lesions of these deadly diseases in the mountains of Central Asia, Altai and Tuva. In the past, ground squirrels used to be hunted for its skin and its precious fat. Hunting them is used to prevent the spreading of pneumonic and bubonic plague.
В постсоветский период сурок потерял свое промысловое значение. Сейчас шкурки сурка никто не покупает.
In the post-Soviet Union period, hunting ground squirrels for their skins lost its significance, as their skins are not in demand anymore. But this animal is a valuable trophy in sports hunting. Kazakhstani hunters are lucky to have these species on the territory of the country. Compared to the Soviet Union times, the populations of ground squirrels didn't decrease. On the contrary, in some regions of Kazakhstan, there has been an explosion in the number of these species. This is a serious problem in these regions. The yellow ground squirrel is not only a valuable trophy for hunters for its skin. Its meat is tasty and nutritious, and its fat is used in alternative medicine. Today, hunting the ground squirrels is becoming increasingly popular. This is not hunting for skins of food. It is sports hunting, where varmint rifles or small calibers are used. Hunting groundhogs starts on the 15th of June every year and goes on until these animals hibernate for the winter. Of course, as a target for trophy hunting, the ground squirrels don't look impressive, but this is the only species that is allowed to hunt at the beginning of the summer here. Sports hunting targeted at these animals is based on the principles of varmint hunting, which first appeared in the United States.
Для варминтинга, конечно, наши сурки и степные горные – это лучший объект охоты.
For varmint hunting, ground squirrels are the best target. Firstly, because their large number allows us to hunt the animal without fearing to decrease their populations. Also, hunting these animals is an engaging and exciting activity. Yellow ground squirrels get more passive in the autumn, so the best time to hunt them is the summer. On top of that, hunting other species in the summertime is not allowed. Scientists say that ground squirrel meat contains precious omega-3 fatty acids that are essential for our health, development and growth. The marmot fat has been used in curing ailments and diseases for ages. Its fat excels oil fish and badger fat in nutrition value. It is especially good when treating rachitic patients as well as patients with physical development impediments. It also helps to cure the chronic fatigue syndrome. Genghis Khan's warriors would add ground squirrel fat to their food on a regular basis and never suffered from colds. They used this fat to cure wounds and frostbite. According to a legend, the conqueror introduced this animal to all the lands he had conquered.
Сегодня мы находимся на охоте в Раймбекском районе, неподалеку.
Today we are hunting in the Rhinebeck region near the Kagan settlement. We have climbed up the hills of Terskyala town. Here we can see that there is a large number of ground squirrels. Now sports hunting the ground squirrels is allowed. Curiosity often kills these animals. When they hear a noise, they jump into their burrows, but not being able to stay there for long, they look out of their shelters. They move by running for a short distance and then stop from time to time, staying still where they are. When escaping, the ground squirrel moves fast and hides in the nearest burrow. We check our rifles and set off for the hunting.
Вообще очень сложно работать, это, во-первых, условия высокогорья.
It's difficult to work in such conditions on these highlands. The slopes are too steep for walking here. We managed to find a spacious plateau inhabited by a large number of ground squirrels. We are in our positions to watch these animals' behavior. Varmint hunting is the practice of hunting vermin, generally small mammals, targeted as a means of pest control or as sport rather than for food. These small animals are difficult to approach closely, and hunting them requires a long-range, highly accurate rifle. Such rifles are equipped with extremely accurate optics and have extended heavy barrels. We hunt walking around hills.
Заметив сурка издалека, мы подкрадываемся на 200-300 метров.
As soon as we notice a ground squirrel, we creep hiding towards it in a distance of 200 to 300 meters. In the past, when people didn't have accurate optics, they would approach the animal as close as when they could see the ground squirrel's eyes. This allowed the hunter aim accurately. The shot is made in a relative distance, and the target has to be still at the moment of shooting and in an upright position, the best position for a shot. The shot is possible to make at quite a long distance, as the animals may hear any noise if the hunter is closer to them and may quickly disappear in the nearest burrow.
Даже тяжело раненый сурок может забраться в нору.
Even a heavily wounded ground squirrel may quickly run into a burrow and die there. For a decent hunter, this is unethical and wrong. A good varmint hunter makes a fine shot to get the trophy. We managed to shoot a few large ground squirrels. Hunting these large rodents turned out to be an engaging activity, and we felt proud of our trophies that were not damaged. Now that we have our ground squirrels, we want to cook shudum from this meat, and there are some peculiarities of how to cook it. When skinning the ground squirrel, it is important to remove the sweat glands. The meat of the ground squirrel is nutritious and valuable because these animals are very selective in the choice of food. Their diet consists of locusts, mollusks, as well as caterpillars. They love wild oats, chicory, clover and meadow bindweeds. In the spring they eat roots. In the summer their food is the shoots of young leaves of grain plants. Unlike other rodents, they do not store food for the winter, which makes their life carefree. The only hazard for them here is hunters, but even for them they are not an attractive target. Generally, ground squirrels are not troubled by anything in their habitat. You probably know that on the 2nd of February in the US and Canada, they mark the Groundhog's Day, the ground squirrel's analogue. On this day, people watch this animal come out of its burrow and notice how it behaves. If the weather is bad, the groundhog doesn't see its shade and leaves its burrow. This means the winter will end soon and the early spring will come. If the day is sunny, the groundhog sees its shade and quickly returns to its shelter. This means the winter will last for another 6 weeks. So far, there have been 7 weather-predicting groundhogs known for their predictions that came true. One of them is Punxsutawney Phil from Pennsylvania that predicted the early spring in the USA in 2011. And now in Kazakhstan, it is summer and we're enjoying ground squirrel hunting.